to Unapologetically Fierce with Faith, brought to you by CKJ Live. This is a safe place where my beloved tribe members and I put anything and everything on the table and dish the unfiltered tea. We are not just a podcast, we are a movement. So get your favorite beverage on hand and enjoy the show. Hey, ladies.
Hey, girl.
Hey. How are you?
Hey, girls. Oh my goodness. I'm like on a high right now about this topic that we're about to speak on, girlfriends. I've been waiting for this. And it seems so fitting because Girlfriends just celebrated their 20-year anniversary by making all episodes available on Netflix. Y'all, I watched seasons 1 through 8, all of the shows, and I just like wanted more. I loved that show. Love that show.
I haven't watched for years. I really haven't, and I loved when it was out. I must spend the entire weekend catching up.
It's amazing. I think it took me about like it took me a few days because really the without commercials, it's like 20 minutes, you know?
Okay.
And it just put me back in the mood of like the early 2000s and stuff. And, you know, it was just great. But friendships is girlfriends. That's like an awesome topic. Friendships are so intimate. And like with our true friends, we should be able to share our fears, our accomplishments, etc. You know, and that's really important. And also with friendships with your girls, they can be referred to as our sisters, wingmen, homegirls, our Thelma to your Louise, Ethel to your Lucy, Issa to your Molly. Y'all get the picture. Joan to your Tony.
Bonnie to your Clyde.
The loss of a close friend. Huh?
I said the Bonnie to your Clyde.
The Bonnie to my Clyde. Exactly. Exactly. The Bonnie to your Clyde. The loss of a close friend can leave a massive hole in your heart that's very difficult to get over.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys, but I've had that, and I'll talk about it later. But yeah, so let's get to talking about that.
So what do you guys consider to be a true friend? Like, how do you know who your true friends are? Like, somebody started off.
For me, it comes from a comfort level. Like anyone that I feel super comfortable around, because I don't open up to people. So I feel like I can tell when I feel like you're a good friend of me, when I feel like I can tell you personal things about me. Like it's not anything that like happens like in my rational mind. I think my subconscious just feels comfortable around you. And I feel like I can tell you things that I normally keep close to the chest. So for me, that's like when I know that I found like a true friend.
Yeah, I agree. For me, it's people that are there for you during difficult times. I think there's nothing that bonds you quite like having tough times in your life and people that show up for you in those moments. To me, that's the definition of a true friend.
Absolutely. And I think, it's a two-way street. I believe it's also someone that could be transparent to me, open, honest, real, and that they feel safe with me as I feel safe with them. But I mean, I have a lot of great friends, and I have a handful of folks that I consider true friends. And I'm just blessed because they span from high school to college. And I've met a few gems, during my work life. So I really am blessed to have a great friend or two in each of those sectors. So I love it.
That's awesome. What about, and then the thing about it too is that we also have like friendships can go into different like levels because you have your frenemy, you have like the seasonal friends and stuff. So what do you guys think about that?
I mean, so that's a good point. So friendships come in reasons, seasons, and lifetimers, right? So everyone fits in that category. And again, with me, I'm blessed to have really good friends. However, now at the level I am in life, I I tell people all the time, my friendship list is full. I'm not really trying to add. I'm good where I am. I have more associates. But yeah, there's nothing worse than having a close relationship with someone that becomes a friend of me, because they can hurt you the most. They know you the best, and they really are the hater in your life, and you kind of don't know until it's too late. So frenemies are the worst. But, all relationships come to an end at some point. Sometimes things just dissolve for whatever reason, but you just have to be aware of what's happening. The signs are there.
And what do you guys think about lifetime friends?
I feel like lifetime friends is I think they're hard to come by, because I feel like friends kind of, you relate to where you are in life. So I feel like if you're not always going to be in that place, it's really hard to maintain lifetime friends. Yes, there are people that you've known for a really long time, but when you look at the nature of your relationship now versus maybe when you first met them, it's typically not the same. So I think it's really hard to say that you have a lifetime friend, because unless you experience certain milestones and even tragedies at the exact same time, it's hard to remain bonded to someone like that in that regard for an entire lifetime.
Yeah.
I agree with that, exactly what you're saying. And I just put a meme up on my Facebook, which was hilarious, because it said, meeting new friends are okay. You don't have to be friends with your second grade elementary childhood friend. And I find that hilarious, because a lot of folks really try to hold on to something that's no longer there. But again, I'm blessed. I do have relationships that started in elementary school, and I'm still very close to those people. Years and miles have separated us. However, the love we have remains the same, and we pick up like we normally would have, although I miss out on so much and they miss out on so much, but we're still connected. But yeah, it's really interesting. A lifetime thing is rare. For you guys to be equally yoked and still have the same interests and same level of, conversation and everything. If there's no growth, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, lifetime friends are hard to come by. I've just been really blessed to have my handfuls and my day ones.
Definitely. I think that there's also a saying that you can't make old friends, because, again, if you go through things in your life and you go through, different periods and stuff, and they're there and they go through it with you. Like if I meet someone, again, my friend list is not open. It's I can have a cool acquaintance to hang out with, whatever. But as far as to get deep, and I feel like I'm at the age now, I'm not married, so I don't have siblings. So I count on my girlfriends, and it's not a neediness. Some may see that because others may have other things going on, but it's if I call you a friend, that's a big deal,
Absolutely.
And it's I take my friendships to heart.
Absolutely. I get it. I don't want to really go off topic, but one of my examples I'll never forget, this was years upon years ago. So I had just gotten the shower, and one of my friends had called me. This is when we were still having home phones. And Rick knocks on the door, and he's like, hey, such and such is on the phone. I'm like, are you serious? I just got into the shower, and you think I'm going to come out and take this phone call? But fast forward a few years, my friend eventually got into a relationship and had a child and stuff. And she basically didn't ghost me, but I didn't hear from her. But I'm like, now you kind of are catching up and understanding where I was with things. But it's hard to maintain a certain relationship when everyone is different, but it becomes easier when everyone is kind of on the same path, and it makes it simpler. But the challenge is always connecting with someone and making sure they feel loved and heard. However, that has to happen. Even this with our girlfriend's trip, we all made it happen. My only request was it has to happen before Thanksgiving. It has to happen after the 6th of November. But I can make it work because Cyan's birthday's at the ways before Thanksgiving, before Rick's birthday. but I definitely want to be there. And we had a blast and we did it, but that's it. I don't know when I'm going to have that availability again. But when I do, it's going to be 100% there, but it's rare. I won't have that next month or the month after, or probably the month after that. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I think that with anything that you work on, like if you really want it, then you'll put all effort into it. And if you don't want it, then, it's like, okay, well, I'm good,
Agreed. No, I agree. But it's kind of hard, I think, for me. One person, I will text you, and I'm not always a going out person. So I hope people don't think she's fighting me or she's not interested. It's not that I'm disinterested. I'm just not that outdoor going out person, and I'm not a phone person. So it bums a lot of people out. Like, I may not pick up the phone, and you may call me, and I still probably won't click over. That's just me.
But I think that's where true friends come into play, because I feel like true friends know you and they know your intentions, and they know, like, okay, like, I know that Carrie's not like the person that I'm going to call if I want to go to a bar, but like, she's the person that I can like hit up if I just really want to get something off my chest, because I know that she'll be there, so I feel like when you have like your friends know you. So I think understanding is like a big portion of like a good friend.
No, you're right.
Definitely.
You're right. Yeah, like my friends that FaceTime me and call me, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to click over in this FaceTime. Right. See?
Especially if we didn't pre-schedule the FaceTime. Like, what are you doing?
I'm like in the bathroom right now. Like, what?
Faith knows if she doesn't schedule her FaceTime with me, the chances are I'm not going to answer. And I'll text her and be like, hey, what's up? Like,
Right. And they're FaceTiming me. I'm texting you like, is everything okay? Like, what?
Yeah, unless you're showing me like a murder scene and you need help like hiding the body. Right. Like, there's no reason to FaceTime out of the blue.
I'm dead up 100% me. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So you want to start off with Myrna, what do you think?
Are you asking me about the topic we just talked about, or are we chiming in? Just chiming in. Bear in mind that we're going to be editing this crap, but I wasn't sure what we were doing there for a moment. I really didn't have anything to add to that, to be honest.
She just messed you up. That's what she did. I think we're about to go to your questions, though.
Yes.
Yeah. So throw it to the question.
Right. Okay. So you just want me to jump in with questions. I was expecting it to be like, okay, so now I'm going to throw questions out there. You know what I'm saying? So I was like a little bit caught off guard.
Okay, so I know all of us had a few questions. So let's get started.
All right. So I definitely have a question for the group. This is something I'm curious about. Have you ever broken up or had a breakup with someone that you considered a very special friend? And if that has happened, what impact did it have on you? I'm going to answer that one first. I have had not falling out, so not breakups, but like slow fades in friendships, people that I thought were like really close to me, and they've sort of faded into the background of life, either for reasons like our life naturally took us in different directions. So you kind of slowly over time lose contact with them. As I married and had more children, some of my friends who stayed single for a lot longer and started to have children a lot later were in a different stage of their life. So we just sort of never were able to connect, and it slowly faded. The impact it had on me, honestly, is that I treasure the friendships I have, knowing that they may not always be permanent, that even if you think it's something that's going to last a lifetime and really impactful, it may be something that is just temporary, for lack of a better word. So I try to value and really pour into the friendships I do have. And it's also made me a lot more considerate of my friends' time, and being intentional about spending time with them so that you foster that continuation, that growth. But that's my question to you ladies. Have you ever had a quote unquote breakup with a special friend?
I can answer that. I have, and it was very tricky because for a long time I didn't know the road that I was on myself. So it wasn't kind of like, it wasn't like emotional, like, like a breakup with a man or whatever. Like, I hate, it was just kind of like quiet, and it just kind of like faded, And it's just like, again, and it's not a clingy, maybe it's the only child syndrome with me, is that I connect, or I try to really connect with people, and they may not want to connect with you the same way. Yeah, it hurts just like a relationship, and it stings for a minute, but then when you realize what it was or what it is, you kind of like, you're like, okay, I'm good with it.
That makes sense. I honestly haven't had a breakup, but like Faith said, and we're both Sagittarius, I'm like deuces. And I know when things are fading, the frequent conversations become more infrequent and there's just less energy. And I mean, just like any relationship, even a romantic one, you just let things fade out, and I'm okay with it either way. So I never press. I never want like closure or a reason why. Unless you're probably family, then I'll be like, what's happening? Let's talk about it. But I really could give two shits about too much. And I'm like, you in, you out. I'm okay with everything. So I haven't had an official breakup, and I don't ever expect to, because I let it ride.
I've had the friendship breakups probably on like every level that you could think of. Like I've had the slow fades, where like somebody that I was like really close to, like, I was in your wedding, and then as life just kind of like progressed, like the situation that brought us to be friends like changed, so we weren't like just faded. I've had the big blow up fights where now it's like we're not talking to each other no more, and just like I've had it on all levels, or just even like the understanding is kind of there where it's like, this isn't really working anymore for whatever reason. So I mean, sometimes it's hurtful. Sometimes it's like, Carrie, you really just don't care. It really just depends. But yeah, like I think I've experienced it like on every level. It's just, you take the L, you keep pushing. Like it's either a loss or a lesson. Either way, take the L and keep pushing.
I think it's an ego hit too, at first, because you're just like, what? You trying to diss me? Like, it's an ego. Just like if your man breaks up with you, it's like, okay, I didn't see that coming. But then you're good after a little bit,
So I have one more question for you guys. My question would be, is there a friend in your life, a girlfriend that you've had that has had a major impact in your life? And if so, who is that person? What about your relationship with them was the most impactful? So for me, it's my best friend, Michelle. We've been friends for over 20 years. She came into my life at a time where my husband and I were newlyweds. We were starting to grow our family. At this point, we had 2 children, and I was pregnant with my 3rd. She was also a young teen mom with really small children. She came into my life, as I was talking about a minute ago, where some of my friends kind of faded into the background. I got married really young, which was different for a lot of my friends. So here she came into my life, a young mom herself, in a relationship with someone who she is still married to today. So it was impactful for me because we had that commonality where I didn't have that with a lot of my friends who have now, as I mentioned, faded into the background of my life. She's been impactful for a million reasons, a huge inspiration to me as a parent, a role model. She's also, deeply devoted to being a Christ follower. And that's something that's been very inspirational to me as well. We've shared so many unique experiences that only me and her would inside jokes. Everybody has inside jokes with their friend. So like me and her have tons of those. Plus she knows too much. So I got to keep her in my life forever because she got all the dirt. You know what I mean? Yeah. She's dragged me out of tremendous pits at really, really deep, points in my life where I've been deeply depressed, and she's been there by my side, never asking, me to change or be any different. She'll just sit there shoulder to shoulder with me while I experience whatever waves it is I'm going through. So that's a person. I think, honestly, going back to what we were talking about earlier about lifetime friendships, it's too soon for me to say I plan to still be on this earth for many, many more years to come, but I really don't think she's going anywhere. This will be someone that I intend to have in my life when I am a little old lady. Like I expect to be in the nursing home with her, causing ruckus and trouble. So that's my friend. But Carrie, how about you? Who in your life has been the most impactful as a girlfriend?
It's so funny because I don't want to name names and then exclude some. I've said this 3 times. I have people in every part of my life that I've remained very close with. childhood friends, I would say Jennifer and Diana, they're actually my bestest friends. They're my kids' godmothers, and they know me like the back of my hand. They accept me. They know what I'm going to say and do about everything. And although we are 800 plus miles away, they're in New York and Pennsylvania. We don't skip a beat, and we may not even speak but 2 or 3 times a year. But we do birthday gifts. We do stuff for the family. We check on each other. If something goes wrong, they're the first call I receive or the first call I dial out. And they're my best. But I also have another really good best friend, and I don't consider anyone a best friend. Let me tell you the truth. My husband, honestly, has been my best friend, and I hate to say because he drives me nuts, but he has been my best friend for the last 25 years because he's the one I wind up telling everything and knows everything and sees everything. But, my girlfriend, Desiree, from college, my roommate, we've been friends for almost 30 years, and she also knows me in and out, and she's done crazy stuff with me I've never done with any other person, and we would never judge each other. We're so, crazy. But so similar. So I have so many friends. And then I have a really good friend that I worked with for several years at the last corporate location. And she knows me from a different level, but she knows all about the other Carries. And she loves me dearly, and I could be transparent and 100 with her. And that's someone I work with, both in HR together. And she's my bestie that she will... my Bonnie and Clyde. I could ask her to literally move a body and she'd be like, what are you going to do in a week? I got it. So I have 4 very close people, but probably another 20 that's hanging behind good people. Faith is one of my good people that I've known for almost 30 years. She's been consistent. We've been there for each other through different times of our life, especially when we were flat on our face, wondering what's happening and how we're going to progress and move forward. And we really got each other out of some terrible times probably 10 years ago. So I have a lot of amazing friends, and I hate to even just name 5 because there's probably 15 more that are like, really, Carrie, you suck. You mention me. But my girls know who they are, and I don't pick up the phone and call them, and I'm really a texter, but my heart is with them, and they're etched in mine.
Love it. Faith, how about you?
Okay, I'm gonna try not to cry on this one.
Take a sip of your drink, please.
I'm not even drinking alcohol today. I'm drinking ginger beer, but I'll take a sip.
You are no way drinking ginger beer today. Please. There we go.
Okay. First, I'll start off with, I find as you get older, it's difficult, just like I said before, it's difficult to create old memory, what did I say before? Have a friend that you've had old memories. You can't make old memories when you're friends. You know? But I think that, and again, my girlfriends are everything to me because, again, I grew up as an only child. But my one girlfriend that impacted, and everyone has impacted me, but the one who's impacted me the most was my friend, Tina. She was my best friend. We met at Clark Atlanta. And it's so funny because our friendship, when I think about it, she was from the Pacific Northwest, and I'm from, this weekend I thought about it when we were at the southernmost tip. It's just wow, we were on opposite sides of the nation, but we just connected, and it was beautiful. She died 2 years ago. And it was sad because she wasn't well. And it's the memories that we've had, we've traveled together. We traveled internationally together. Went to Jamaica a few times. We went to the Bahamas. We did stuff, that you would do with your sister or close friend. She was my Bonnie to Clyde, to my Clyde. She was she was everything. And even after college, she went off to law school and we were in different places. We were still connected because what we formed was that secure. that it just, no matter like if I went to another country, if I went to different time zones, hell, we were in different time zones, but we were still connected.
Yeah.
And it hurt my soul. It still hurts my soul that she's no longer here, because I miss her. I mean, she knew me in and out. I could be an extroverted introvert or an introverted extrovert. Like, she knew all sides of me. And I remember when she was ill, like towards the end, and I couldn't talk to her. You know, like I was that persistent person. I was like consistent in calling her, getting up to date. So if I didn't talk to her, I was like, you're going to talk to me. Like, this is your sister. You're going to talk to me and everything. And I really feel like she's with me with this podcast, with, you know, she sees everything that I'm like in the, you know, I had a lot of ins and outs. I'm now in the legal profession as a paralegal. So I kind of like know what I'm going to do. I feel like she, you know, she knows and she's there. And, you know, so I don't take friendships for granted, because although they may end, like I don't take them for granted. Like if I'm down for you, I'm down for you. If I'm down for you, I'll fight for you. And maybe it's because both of us were single and we weren't married, and I felt, but it was just like ride or die. And that's what I look for. Like other just shallow things, I can't, because, you know, as you grow older, like I thought we would be like the Golden Girls together. You know, I thought that we would just, you know, do a road trip or whatever, but it didn't happen that way. And, I'll stop with that. But yeah, that's the one person that impacted my life the most.
If I had known you were going to go that deep, I probably would have been like, let me go first, because now I feel like whatever I say is not going to be like as, you know, like as meaningful as what you said. But
yeah, but just remember that we can re-record and edit the stuff anyway.
Yeah. No, but like as far as girlfriends that have impacted me most in my life, like I've been blessed that I have a few really close-knit people. Like my circle isn't big, but it's like it's a good circle. Like I have good people in there, and I won't name names because they listen to the show and I don't want nobody getting in their feelings because I either didn't mention them or, you know, didn't like give them proper credit. But like, you know, I have, you know, a friend that like I know that's like the person that, you know, is always going to give it to me straight. She's always going to tell me exactly what it is. And she's also always going to like pray for me to make the right decisions if she feels like if I'm not listening to her and I'm not doing what I should be doing, she's going to pray and be like, you know what, don't worry, I got you. Or like for whatever I'm going through. I have a friend that like, she's an example to me of like what I would hope to be someday, like when I have my own children, as far as like, you know, being a mom and taking care of her kids and doing that. I have a friend that she is a mom already and have kids that are a little bit older. And she's kind of like a mom friend, you know, like she's like my mom, but she's also a friend because I can tell her things that maybe I wouldn't feel comfortable telling my mom. But because she is like a mom, she gives me that mom perspective without the judgment of it being like, this is my daughter, like you can't do that sort of thing. So I think I'm really blessed to know that I have some different friends that have given me that impact in my life. So I'm really thankful for that. But that also brings me to, I guess, my question, which, what are the qualities that you guys look for in friends? Because for me, it has to be somebody who isn't, you know, super judgmental, somebody that I can tell you like what I really think and not think that you're going to think maybe less of me or think that I'm not a good person or whatever because of what I say. Or also somebody that's, I feel like to be my friend, you have to have a little bit of thick skin and know that I'm not coming from a bad place when I give you the 100, because that's just how I am. So I needed like a friend that's understanding. And I also need friends that are honest. Like I don't like to be told what I want to hear. I want to be told the truth. Because I mean, you know, I feel like when you're doing something or you're saying something, a part of you already has that gut instinct and you kind of know what you're doing or where you're going or what you want to say. And I need somebody that's going to bring that out of me and say, like, you know what you're doing. You know what's the right thing to do. Don't pretend. So I need somebody that's a straight shooter and just gonna tell me the truth all the time. And somebody that I can lean on when shit hits the fan, because I'm not the most emotional person. I'm not the person that's going to cry when things happen. That's not me. But if I do get to that point, I need somebody that can be there for that too. So what about you, Myrna?
You know, honestly, your answers nailed it for me, because for me, and I think it probably comes with age, where we just life, you know, we're busy, we got shit going on. We just need people that are going to come into our life and keep it real with us. Like cut the fat, trim the bullshit, and just keep it real. So for me, that's a huge quality. Is I need honesty. I need openness too. I mean, if I'm vulnerable with you, I need to see that that's reciprocated. Otherwise you get put in a different category of friendship. So if I'm talking about like a true friendship, intimate relationship with someone, then I need you to be as vulnerable with me as I am with you. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to share things that you're not comfortable with. I mean, if it's something that you can entrust me with, then that to me is like a quality that I look for, just that it's reciprocated, that the effort that I'm putting in is also matched. But the flip side to that is that I also need friends in my life, and I look for this a lot too, who are going to understand the moving parts of my life, because, you know, there's madness sometimes, and I can't always keep the same level of intensity because of the stuff that I'm going through. And I tend to isolate when I'm struggling a little bit. And that generally is good for me, because it gives me time to figure out what's going on with me before I bring it to a friend or a confidant for support or help. So I need somebody that can also move with the changing seasons of my life, and just kind of like, I don't want to say just go on a shelf whenever I don't want to, spend time with them, but they can understand who I am at my core and not take it personal. So yeah, loyalty, reciprocation, and then definitely just somebody that really understands me and knows me for who I am and can accept me the way that I am. That's a huge quality for me. So I'm not perfect, and I'm not a perfect friend. I make mistakes, but I always come in with a whole heart. And when I am a friend, I'm going to be there for you 100%. You become my responsibility when you're my friend, whether you like it or not. That's just the way it's going to be. But, I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? So I just need someone that understands that. And that's why, I have a small circle of like really, really good friends that I trust a lot, but they're amazing human beings. And that those people have gotten, what's the word I'm looking for? Like weeded out of my life, or just kind of like pushed to the sidelines. And that core, that inner circle has been carefully pruned and trimmed, and like very select people that are there. And those people match those qualities. The keeping it real being the first thing. So that's my answer.
I like it when I have relationships. We have a lot of things in common. Now, I would never want a clone, but I like it because it makes it easy when we have things that are similar or in common together that we really get build on. So that makes it easy for me. Again, I know there are different relationships, and I have some relationships where I'm the student and someone else is the teacher, or, this is more business oriented, or this is more fitness related, or this is more money making or professional. But I love it when we have something in common, and that's what we build on. It makes it easy and so fun. But I look for a lot of different qualities, but honesty and someone that is loyal and genuine are, I guess, my biggest ones.
I think loyalty is big for me on like every level, because again, like I don't just pick up a friend like, hey, you're my friend, even though there was a dark point in my life where I did pick up people who I thought were my friends, and then, it just ended, and I was just kind of like, wow. And I felt like, I was just sharing too much, but it was because of the pain that I had. And, a lot of times when you bottle stuff up, it just kind of goes to diarrhea, because it's like you need that attention. I was attention seeking because I no longer, my friend was the person that, I just kind I couldn't talk to her, and I didn't want to bottle it up. But I do have different levels. I've known some people for years, but it's just different. And I think that it's like what you said, Carrie, like you go through different things. You go through, like I have people that I have a good friend that I will talk about career. I have, another one that I talk about real estate, just different things that I'm interested in or whatever. Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm. I noticed like a theme in all the answers, and that it actually gives me like a good segue to my follow-up question. But like, do you guys believe that there are different levels of girlfriends? And when I say different levels, I don't mean like, okay, like, like you have to move up like a chart of like when you become like the ultimate like best friend or something. But I just mean like, I know like I have friends that like, okay, these are the people that I see socially. Like if I want to go out somewhere and I'm like, hey, like what's a good bar to go hang out to, or let's go, dancing or something, like that. These are the people that I call, and then I have the people that, if I want to have like a deep, meaningful conversation, like these are the friends that I call for that. Right. Then I have like work friends are a little tricky because I do have work friends that have become like super close to me, that have become some of my best friends. I mean, like I met Faith at work, you know what I mean? So like, I do feel like you can transition your level, but then I also have people that like, the only reason why we know each other is because we work together. Like we're not typically people that would meet otherwise because our interests are so different. And, we have different lives. So like out in the quote unquote real world, we probably wouldn't meet up and become friends. But because, we're chained to a desk for 8 hours a day, like, we relate to that, and that's how we become friends. So you guys of having different levels of friends or different categories, like however you want to word it.
I do think that you have different levels of friends. And man, I don't know if this has ever happened, if you've ever had this experience where, well, first I'll explain this. I do think that, you have friends that are work friends. That's a certain caliber of friend, because you probably keep things kind of superficial. Some of those people will graduate to another level that become more like family friends. Like, your children are doing things with their children and you kind of having play dates, things like that. But for the most part, I do see those as friendships. They may not be deep friendships, but somebody I enjoy that I let into a certain intimacy or certain vulnerability in my life, like work friends, I'll use as that example, or just even like, school friends. Then of course there are those people that are like, neighbors, and you might do stuff with, they know more about you because they see your comings and goings and hear you yelling at your kids and all that kind of stuff. And then of course those friends that you just like turn to for advice and all of that you trust deeply. But sometimes I have this bizarre experience happen to me where certain friends will bleed into like other friends. Like I met Faith at church, right? A church friend is a whole different kind of friend for me. They see one version of Myrna that like, if you really, really my friend, you're not going to see. I mean, you're just not going to see. So when I'm out in public with like, a friend, and then I run into a church friend and suddenly my friend sees church Myrna come out, it's like, it could be a bizarre experience. So those levels when they run into each other can be really strange. Not like I always say, it's not that I am not myself when I'm at church, but that's a version of me that's for church. And who I am as a professional, right? And who I am as a professional, they see a different side of me that people like Faith don't have to see. Why would I be, the employee version of myself when I am around Faith if she's like one of my dearest, greatest friends? But yeah, I do think that there are levels to friendships. I think that each version of those people see a certain side of you that maybe others don't, or don't see the full picture of you. They just see a shade of you. But I do. And for me, it's always really, really funny to like run into people outside of like the bubble they're supposed to stay in. You know what I mean? So, yes. But yeah, that's my answer.
That's funny.
So for me, the different levels, yeah, that's really interesting. I typically friends a lot of folks as associates, like almost what Myrna said, we're working together during this time. Now, if I leave this job, we may not associate anymore, but as long as I'm employed here and you are too, we're really good work buddies. have left that level and graduated to something more permanent. But it's kind of weird because on my social media, which I'm pretty active on Facebook, I have a lot of former coworkers and that we weren't really close. But after a while not being there, we connected on social media, and now they see a different side of me, and I see a different side of them, more intimate side. But it's kind of awkward. It's kind of different because, HR Carrie is very different than Facebook Carrie.
I bet.
HR Carrie is different than Facebook Carrie, but Facebook Carrie is real Carrie. I honestly have a lot of different levels, and I friend zone most as associates. But I have so much friends that, like, I may just talk about tummy tuck with this one, or, working out, or being on intermittent fastings, gaining money, or, like opening businesses. So I have different levels, different friends, all over the place. But I do have my day ones that take care of all my needs.
I think that I do have a different level, but I think as I get older, it's more difficult because, again, they say you meet your core friends when you go to college, and those are usually your friends that you stay along with. But moving, like, my life was in Georgia for years, like my adult life, and I met a lot of people, but again, it was like on different levels. And I think that it reminds me of like playing Donkey Kong, like going to different levels, or like Mario Brothers or whatever. I think that, like, with my friends, that if and it's not a test that I'm doing, but it kind of is, because if I'm going through something and it's like, how are you there for me? And that may seem kind of selfish, but like as you get older, different things happen. As you get older, like since I've been back here, like my father passed away, my best friend. So it's like a lot of times it depends on how they can help you with that. And that may seem kind of selfish, but again, just like you all said, they're different versions of you. I remember when I met Tamara about 4 years ago, I was at the job. I wasn't talking to nobody. I think she was talking to me. Like, we were like, oh, okay. And like now, we're like super close. She's like a little sister. And, it's just weird. It's just weird how things, because I don't think she's like, I've had many jobs here because I changed careers and everything like that. And I don't really see that, like, you have your work friends, and I don't really see a lot of them jumping up into the level of like, okay, family or something. So I think it's like when they share stuff with you, like when they share different events with you and they are there for you when you need them. Not when it's convenient for them, but when you need them. And, I'm that friend that I'll try to do the same. I'll do the same thing to my best, because in order to have a good girlfriend, you got to be a good girlfriend.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That is 100% right.
So, it's just difficult to kind of like be like, okay, now you go down a level because you weren't there for, no, be 100 with me at all times, even if it's something that I don't want to hear. You tell me, I process it and we move on. That's what true friendships are about. Okay. I have a question. Which has the most and I think we kind of like went over it a little bit, but which has the most impact in contemplating like the end of a friendship? Like, what do you guys see? Like, are there flags that it's just like, okay, time's up, I can't anymore? And do you think about the number when you're making that decision? Do you think about the number of years you've known that person or the quality of the friendship?
For me, it's the quality of the friendship, because I mean, like, I could have known you since kindergarten, but if you haven't been a good friend, like, there's no reason to keep you around. You know what I mean? I feel like it's different. Like, I feel like the only time that the amount of time that you've known the person matters, in my opinion, is like if the amount of time that you've known them, if they've been like consistently a good friend, you know, like other than that, like I just look at the quality of the friendship. Because I mean, there are people that I've been friends with for maybe like 2 years. Like one of my closest friends is somebody that like I met him like 2 years ago, and he's like one of my closest friends. So I don't think that matters. But I definitely think that it's the quality of the friendship. Because if I've known you, like, you know, like we came out of the womb together and we were in incubators next to each other in the NICU, like it doesn't matter like if you're a shitty friend. So definitely I think that the quality over the quantity, like how long you've known them.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think it depends too on the reason that you are having to fall out of the friendship. Because sometimes, you know, the same way someone can walk into your life and in such a short amount of time make such a huge impact that they are suddenly like a tremendous friend. I'll use Faith as the example of that. Like we've gotten closer through the past, 3 to 4 years. I've known her a little bit longer than that, but became really close. And I put her up there with friends I've had for 20 years, because it's not about how long you've been there, but how you showed up and what kind of impact you had. But if we had a falling out, I think it really just depends. There are experiences, like I was saying earlier, I haven't had a breakup with a friend that I can think of, maybe when I was much younger. But people have faded into the background. And there are times that you feel like you have to fall back a little bit. And for me, it goes back to what I was talking about, the quality that I look for in a friendship, and reciprocation is a big one. So if I feel like I'm giving more than I'm getting and it's just consistent, and when I need you, you can't be there for me, then I'm probably going to fall back and just let you fade into the background, because if you're not giving effort, that's what's naturally going to happen as soon as I start to let go. So I really think now if someone were, to do something that I find to be a huge betrayal to me, how long they've been my friends, not even going to be a consideration. I'm one of those people that will forgive, but I'll be damned if I'm going back to that well to drink from that water. I'm good. Like, I'm just going to respectfully say, bye, Felicia. You know what I mean? So for me, how long you've been a friend really isn't the question. It's really like, if you've been there for a lot, I'm going to show you a lot of grace. But like, if it's a huge betrayal, I'm probably just going to be like, yeah, I'm good. I'm going to walk away.
I agree 100%. I don't really have much to add. It's definitely about the quality of the friendship. But there are a handful of people that I would go to bat with and see how we can resolve and fix and move forward. And there's the majority of people that I'm like, it's over. It's done. It's done. It's the season, reason, lifetime. You've been to the season. But I do have a few handfuls that, no, I would go out of my way to make sure I didn't hurt them, to make sure that we're clear, to make sure that the love is there, and to, fix things a certain way. But and I also don't have relationships that really I foresee having any issues and stuff. I don't really put myself in a lot of odd positions, like not lending you money and not sleeping over my house. I mean, I'm not freaking doing anything crazy to even get myself in a position where it may be odd or jeopardized. So long gone for me.
Yeah, I definitely think it also depends on like the level of the friendship that you have too, because I've been in instances where something that I've been through with somebody, like a lesser valued friendship would have been over. But because you care about the person, like you make an effort to resolve the issue and you talk about it and you deal with it, you get past it. Like if you value the friendship enough, I feel like you're willing to work on it, versus somebody that like the quality of the friendship wasn't there to begin with. You're just like, you know what? I should have been cut you out. Like I'm gonna go ahead and do it now.
Done.
It's a wrap.
Agreed.
Okay, my next question. Fair weather versus jealous friends.
I feel like you should cut both out of your life.
There you go.
Like, it's simple as that. I mean, fair weather friends, people that just like when it's convenient to have you around. I think Myrna used this as an example earlier where it's like, you put somebody on a shelf until like you need them. Like, it's like when my life is good, like I don't need you, but like the moment something happens and I need somebody, then it's like, oh my God, like where's my best friend? Like I need you. And it's just like a constant, like I'm always giving. No. And then, I don't feel like there should be jealousy amongst friends either, because I mean, like jealousy as far as like, if my friends are winning, like I'm happy for them. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you're doing great, if you just bought a house, like I'm not going to be like, well, damn, like I ain't got a house. You know what I mean? Like those things don't cross my mind. And I feel like when you're friends, like they shouldn't. And it also shouldn't be like an issue with like jealousy of time spent, like, oh, you went out with her, but you didn't go out with me. Like that to me is like a turn off, and that will just not go anywhere. Like that's not, I don't have anybody in my like circle that acts like that, because that to me is just like, I wouldn't put up with it from a significant other. So I'm sure they're not going to put up with it from a friend either. Like it just doesn't fly with me.
Yeah, jealous friends, I'll never understand that, especially among females. Like there's enough blessing to go around for everybody. Sometimes, there's a fine line between gaining inspiration from a friend and like really wanting what they have. But I think I'm a good judge of character. And if a friend is, like that, they're probably not going to make it to the inner circle that I was talking about. So like fair weather friends, and what I was talking about earlier about just meeting people in my life who understand that my life is like sometimes a little crazy and chaotic. I also extend that grace to my friends as well. So like, I get that there are going to be times where I'm the needy friend. This past year has been a little bit of that. And I've been blessed to be so fortunate that I have friends who have never once said to me like, it's too much, or I don't feel like I'm getting back what I'm giving. They've kind of understood that I'm the needy friend, and hopefully I've done enough in our relationship for them to understand that when it's their turn, because there will be a turn, life just hands you trouble sometimes, that I will be there for them as well. So that whole fair weather business, I've seen it, but those people don't make it to the inner circle for me. It's like, if I know that you're only here for a good time and not for a long time, I don't really need that in my life.
You gotta go.
Yeah, exactly. I'm good with the circle that I have. So I don't really stress too much over the fair weather people. Those people are so far in the background. I don't see them. So
no new applicants need to apply.
Yeah, my circle's tight. I like the way it is, just the way it is. Not saying that who can't use more friends, right? We had this wonderful experience this weekend. I've reached out to you guys to tell you what it meant to me. And I was so glad to get to know you on a separate level. I mean, you share a hotel room with anybody for any significant period of time, you're going to get to know them a little differently, But I think that's super important, right? To have, quality time with your friends and stuff like that. So I always welcome new friendships. I don't feel like I've met my quota. But my circle's tight, and if I never made another friend, I'm happy with what I have now, and that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So for me, like the whole fair weather business, I think that's inevitable, especially with today's like microwave society, as Faith calls it, where everything's like instant, quick gratification and on to the next thing. I think it kind of goes with the norm now, but those of us who are old school or appreciate and value loyalty, like you're not going to make it to the inner circle. So I don't even know what a fair weather friend is. That there's fair weather people in my life. They don't graduate to friend. If that makes sense. So
yeah, I think that with fair weather friends, I've seen a lot of it, but again, it's just like, and it's just kind of like a time thing where, I was at a point in my life where I was starting over. So I was meeting different people, and it was different because we were different. And, we may be, and I think this was mentioned earlier, that if you're put in like a same situation of like, I was a teacher. So yeah, I had a lot of teacher friends, but really there were just a lot of teacher acquaintances because I don't have anything in common with you, but we teach. And then once I decided, hey, teaching is not for me, I left. It's like, okay, so, it just kind of like fell off, but I was like, good. Like I love them. Like I love people, but it's just like, hey, thank you for the time. thank you for that time. Thank you for that time helping me. Thank you for whatever. Thank you for being next to me when I needed that assistance as far as like where I was going in life, you know? But I don't really, I really try not to have fair weather friends. It's too much energy. It's too much negative energy. And like, if I'm telling you something and you take a deep breath and roll your eyes, like, I can't. I can't.
I have a pretty interesting take now that you guys have really spoke about this. So I don't have any fair weather friends, as I call it, or jealous friends that I know about. But a fair weather friend and a jealous friend to me says more about that person than it does the friendship. To me, it speaks to their mentality and where they're coming from. And to me, that's an issue if we accept that kind of relationship or person in our life, knowing that they're inconsistent or they're not, at the best of heart for us, or that they're the hater. That's interesting because it's really on their part and that's their issue. But it shows something about us if we allow that and accept that. That's all I don't have either. And if I do, they haven't really revealed themselves to me. But I keep a lot of people at arm's length anyway, so I never feel that energy.
So anyone have any final?
No, it was great. I love that this topic was right on time. I mean, we just came off our amazing trip, right? Key West. We had some great conversations.
Such a good time.
Yeah, we saw the ocean. We had that cruise, unlimited drinks. We had a get up of a time, amazing seafood, and we had fun. So this was just perfect. It was a really good topic after our girlfriend's weekend.
Definitely. Well, I know I will always remember this trip, and the first of many,
There you go. Yeah, we got to plan our next one.
Definitely looking forward to the next
when the
trip.
world is open. Hopefully, we can get our passports updated and get out of here.
That's right.
Definitely, mine.
We're gonna take this show international.
Yes.
Right. Where is the first spot going to be? Let's think of that before we get off. Where is it going to be?
Jamaica, baby.
Oh yeah,
Jamaica. I feel like Jamaica or the Bahamas.
Yeah.
I made a promise to myself that I have to learn how to swim. Back to Dunn's River.
Yes, ladies. As we established on this trip, I know how to swim, but I can't save you all if shit goes down.
No, and I feel like I need to have a baby. Apparently, having kids puts you up on the priority list of being saved if you're drowning. So I think the next trip's gonna be after I have the kids, so that way I can kind of be on par with Carrie.
Let's go.
That way they'll be well, Tamara has a baby, so I have to save her. Yeah. Carrie, your kids are a little older, so we'll come for you next.
or if we go to Jamaica, I'll just make it easy. I just won't go to Dunn's River Falls.
Well, the fact that Faith is talking about jumping off of a cliff, I'm good luck with that. I'll be at the bottom.
I'm not going to be the first.
I'm telling you, if I could go 50 feet into the ocean, into the Caribbean, the Caribbean Sea, if I can go
with a life vest on. They don't give you a life vest when you jump off of Dunn's River Falls.
Yeah, I'm taking the picture. I'm standing up on the little bridge taking pictures of you guys.
I'll be eating in the restaurant inside.
I'll be with you.
Well, guys, this was great.
Great topic. Great topic. Glad we got to talk.
Definitely. Well, thank you guys, and see you next time.
All right, we'll talk soon. Bye.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye. Thank you for joining us at Unapologetically Fierce with Faith, brought to you by CKJ Live. Come back and visit again to hear more of the unfiltered tea that we are ready to dish. And remember, we are not just a podcast, we are a movement.